Greetings, amazing viewers. Today's episode of Animal World, our Co-Inhabitants is For the Birds. We bring to you the caring and compassionate founder of United Poultry Concerns, Karen Davis. Although Karen didn't really get to know chickens until she was in her 30s, when she finally met them, you might say that it was love at first sight. Her first chicken friend, a hen named Viva, was crippled, but Karen saw right through to her beautiful heart and courageous spirit. The modern chicken's roots are in the jungle. Its ancestor is the wild red jungle fowl found in northeast India, China, Indonesia, and Malaysia. One can easily see the resemblance to the familiar chicken in these gorgeous birds. Karen Davis saw the beauty inherent in these birds, and it was her love of chickens and other fowl that led her to found the United Poultry Concerns in 1990. Since then, UPC, with Karen as its president, has been promoting the compassionate and respectful treatment of domestic birds. One of its projects is a sanctuary for domestic fowl. Karen is a tireless advocate for chickens and other farm birds and has spoken and written widely on their behalf. In honor of her compassionate work, she was inducted into the U.S. Animal Rights Hall of Fame in 2002. After a presentation at the New York Bird Club, an organization dedicated to supporting wild bird populations, Karen Davis shared her thoughts and work with Supreme Master Television.
Good evening. I'm Marion Haley Moss coming to you from New York City for Supreme Master TV. And my guest tonight is Karen Davis, who's the president and founder of United Poultry Concerns. United Poultry Concerns is an organization for the welfare of chickens, turkeys, domestic fowl. And she is trying to educate people as to the horrors of factory farming, to educate people as to how to take care of these beautiful creatures, and trying to offer a sanctuary for some that are lucky enough to find their way to her.
It's great to be here today, Marion. Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be your guest.
Oh, that's great. I read on your website that you at one time were a literature professor, Dr. Karen Davis.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Well, how did you turn from teaching people literature to teaching them compassion? Was there a little chicken called Viva that was in the mix there?
Well, Viva came into the picture, yes. When I was teaching literature, I hope I was also teaching compassion or compassionate values from the literature. Yeah. But, it's quite interesting. I moved to a place that turned out to have a little chicken house on the property. And one day, the chickens who I took to visiting and started to learn about them and enjoy their company. And then one day after 6 weeks, the little shack was empty. And so about 3 days later, I was walking by and marveling at the fact that this chicken house, which had been filled with these birds whom I had visited, was now so empty, but for a few feathers floating around in the air. And all of a sudden, it was sad, it was mournful. And all of a sudden, I saw a shadow moving inside. And I unlatched the door, and I went inside, and there was one very crippled little hen all by herself, who had been left behind either on purpose or by accident. And I gathered her in my arms, and she was, as I say, very crippled, and it was obvious that she had not gotten much to eat. She had not grown well. And I took her into our kitchen and showed her to my husband, Alan, and he said we should name her Viva because she's the one who lived. So we named her Viva, and it was getting to know her and spending time with her that helped me to learn how affectionate chickens are, how friendly they are, and just what cheerful company they can be. And she was certainly extremely instrumental in my ultimate decision 3 years later to start United Poultry Concerns, specifically on behalf of chickens.
The United Poultry Concerns is in honor, really, of Viva, which means life.
Yes, that's right? Exactly right. And one of the things I realized in meeting Viva and her companions, and that I try to help to instill in people, is that there are billions of Vivas out there just as precious, who need a voice for them. They have voices, but they need a political voice. They need a voice to speak to people on their behalf. They're not voiceless. They are all crying for help in the places they're forced to live. They are cheerful birds when they're happy. They're full of vocalizations. So they're not voiceless, but they need somebody to represent them in the public domain.
Well, you certainly heard them and are one of the people that are doing that.
I did. I heard them, and I decided that I was going to answer that call.
This is Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants on Supreme Master Television, and we'll be right back with more of our interview with Karen Davis of United Poultry Concerns after these messages.
Welcome back to Animal World, Our Co-Inhabitants on Supreme Master Television. People who spend a lot of time with chickens say that they have intelligence, emotions, and personalities, just like cats and dogs, and for that matter, us humans. Escaped domesticated chickens can survive in the wild and very quickly revert to their ancient habits. They seek out trees to roost in and forage and nest on the ground, living in extended family groups just like their ancestors. Now, let's continue our interview with Karen Davis of United Poultry Concerns, who founded this organization to protect chickens.
Chickens, as far as scientists know, based on DNA evidence and other evidence, evolved in the tropical forests of Southeast Asia and parts of India up to the Himalayas, the hilly areas. And that's their provenance. That's where they originated, and they lived and continue to live. They're wild relatives, very hardy lives, raising their families, sleeping in the branches of trees at night, very active, running around, dust bathing, sunbathing, and living a very vigorous and zesty life.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? Chickens are beings too. They have hearts and souls. And do you think a chicken has a soul?
Well, one of our posters says, "A heart beats in us the same as in you," and it shows two chickens sitting together in a chicken house with a lot of wounds and scratches from those conditions and very sweet faces. And we decided to put that caption on the poster, "A heart beats in us the same as in you." And I know chickens have feelings. I know they're very emotional birds. I know they are very intelligent birds. And I'd say this, if humans have a soul, so does the rest of the animal kingdom, including chickens.
Humans have long thought highly of chickens. Roosters are loved for their proud-bearing and rousing voices. The hen is the epitome of what we humans admire in a mother. Hens will give up their own lives rather than abandon their chicks. The modern farm hen continues to show these same protective and nurturing qualities, even though she's been induced to lay almost 20 times the number of eggs that she would in nature.
And then you were saying something this afternoon about the rooster being so elegant that it was picked up, probably by royalty.
Yes, well, there's no question. When I started spending time with roosters, because I didn't really grow up around chickens, so I didn't get to know chickens until I was well into my 30s. And watching roosters and watching their postures and their demeanor, their behavior, I began to really see in my mind images of royalty, paintings hanging in museums where those very types of roosterly attitudes are assumed by members of royalty. And certainly the dress that men have adopted with, again, their crowns or their elaborate headdresses and so on, certainly suggests that the rooster has been a kind of an effective model
Yes.
for men wanting to impress people with their grandeur and their opulence and their aristocratic bearing, which a rooster definitely has.
Absolutely. And then a mother hen is a symbol, right, of motherhood, of caring, of concern, and of protection.
Yes, the mother hen is and has long been for centuries a symbol of motherhood, of nurturing care. There are biblical references to the care of a mother hen for her chicks, which is a kind of metaphor for the kind of nurturing care that a spiritual person should show to other people and even to the world itself. So there is a long tradition of viewing the mother hen with full justification as an expression of the kind of nurturing love and fierce protection of her chicks and a kind of cheerful and very responsible motherhood.
Well, what's happened? That the chicken is sort of, with those qualities, people don't recognize them for the most part. I don't think so. I saw the Letterman piece on your website where a fellow that you introduced, she was telling the audience about how he came to your place and you introduced him to the chickens and then he became a vegetarian.
Karen Davis did in fact invite Ira Glass, the well-known National Public Radio show host, to visit her and her chickens. We'll find out more about that when we return after these messages. This is Animal World, our Co-Inhabitants on Supreme Master Television.
Looking for the coolest shop in town? At thecelestialshop.com, I can find everything I need at the tip of my paw. SM-loving vegan dog food? Crunchy, scrumptious, yum, yum. I can eat them all day. Wow, look what I found! A nice spacious house where I get to have my own patio and sunroof. And look at the selection of happy doggy clothes. So many different designs to choose from, and in all different sizes, makes any dog want to snuggle into a new pair of clothes. They even have the most comfortable bed in the whole wide world. So soft and cozy, and the base is anti-skid and waterproof. Makes me feel like a king. Finally, a store just for me. Woohoo! I'm in dog heaven. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Come see what's here for you. TheCelestialShop.com. Welcome back to Animal World, our Co-Inhabitants on Supreme Master Television.
We now continue our show with Karen Davis of United Poultry Concerns. Karen once invited Ira Glass, the well-known national public radio personality and host of the radio and television show The American Life, to come and meet her chickens. Later, Ira Glass told about his experience on The Late Show with David Letterman. This is Ira Glass telling David Letterman about how Karen Davis's message influenced him.
Tell me this story about the chicken lady, the chicken rights advocate, the woman who is upset about annual coverage of poultry consumption at holiday seasons.
We got protested on the radio show, and when you're on public radio, like the kinds of things people will protest you for and write to you angrily about will be the grammar of your sentences often and things like that. But there was a period where for several years actually, this woman named Karen Davis, she was upset because every Thanksgiving we would do, like during the highest poultry consumption months of the year, which are your Thanksgiving and your Christmas, we would do every year we would do a show about turkeys and chickens and ducks and poultry. And Karen Davis, she was saying, like, no, by saying that, what you're doing is that you're making it possible for people to eat chickens because you just see them as these creatures with no personalities. Were
you ever able to sort of step to the other side of the discussion and kind of did it change your view in any way?
Well, she kept saying, you've got it wrong. You've got it wrong. Like chickens, you've got it wrong. Chickens actually have personalities, and if you would come to my house, you would see I have these chickens, and so I was like I'm a reporter, right? Like, so I was like, okay, maybe we got this wrong, and so I went to her house in Eastern Maryland, and so I met her chickens, and and I got it. All credit to her. Like, it turns out they have, they don't, like, they're the outgoing ones and they're the shy ones. And they're like, they do
and
that.
Has it changed your dietary interests?
Well, yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, actually, and every time after that, I would have a piece of chicken. I would think back to her chickens and the shy ones and the outgoing ones, and I would think, is this the last piece of chicken I'm going to eat? And then eventually it was the last. Like, and
so you did stop eating
I became
chicken.
A vegetarian because of that woman.
Wow.
She got the last laugh on me.
Wow, how about that?
That's wonderful. Karen's diligence and dedicated efforts to help our chicken friends is truly admirable. By providing opportunities for people to befriend chickens, Karen gives them a chance to observe for themselves chickens' intelligence and personalities.
Most people in our society don't have any acquaintance with chickens at all.
Or other animals.
Except for their dogs and cats,
Right.
They pretty much don't know anything about any other animals. So the attitude that people have about chickens is a stereotype that has nothing to do with actual knowledge. Most people know chickens from jokes and things that have really been engineered by the industry to help people to laugh at these birds and not relate to them in an empathic way. People do need to understand that plants and the plant kingdom is the source of protein that we should be consuming. Everything has protein. All living things are made of protein. So if you're eating beans and nuts and you're eating greens, you're eating legumes, and any of the processed foods now that can be made to taste just like chicken if you want that, or there's such an enormous number of meat analogs that are coming out now, for example.
Thank you, Karen, for your compassionate efforts on behalf of our feathered chicken friends. May all of God's creations coexist in a peaceful world embraced with love, respect, and dignity. We appreciate your presence today on Animal World, our co-inhabitants. Up next is enlightening entertainment right after noteworthy news, so please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. May heaven's blessings grace every moment of your life.